Think
Yep.
we're live again. Hey, Didi, Didi, can you let me know if it's live? We're live. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. And Instagram, you guys that was a little backstage excitement. There's so many comments in the Instagram. Let me just see if,
Gee.
let's keep it going. Okay. So people don't want us to leave.
All right.
Okay, good. Dave, we have grown. So I got to take a picture again. You're still a godfather of drumming. San Antonio, Texas. Anyway, there's just a lot of comments. I'm just switching to my phone for a second. See if there's anything I want to hear about your point of view of the first Dead Cross show at the Casbah.
Ooh. Wow. Well,
I'm just reading a comment on the Instagram. We're doing simulcast on Instagram, folks. It's high tech.
Wow, that was brutal. We had just written, I don't know what, 7, 8 songs at the time, and it was exciting. It was one of those gigs where we knew hell was going to break loose. We just went with it and just went off and played as hard as we could, and it was a small, sweaty club, and it was a lot of fun, to say the least. Yeah, I mean, there had to have been minimum 200 people, maybe less. It was great.
And that 200 people on that, and yeah, so that was you getting back to your roots, right?
Yeah, that was the bottom of the roller coaster, waiting.
Right, but let's look at Slayer. Like when you founded Slayer, you were playing to 12 people probably in your high school.
I'll never forget, Slayer played this bar. My mom drove me there. We put my drum set in the back of her car, in the trunk. It was like a 71 Pontiac Ventura. It looked like a Nova. And so we fit the drums in there, and she drove me. I had to have been 16, 17 years old. And there was nobody in the crowd. I think my mom was just sitting on the side somewhere, and there were about 4 or 5 bikers by the pool table, and you heard them scream, Skinnerd, or Hatchet, Molly Hatchet.
Right. Oh God.
And so yeah, I mean, we've all been there, and it's just it's part of growing and being a musician.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to. I don't know. Do you go to Cuba? Are you allowed to? Is your family blocked? Like, what's the?
No. I went there in, I believe, might have been 2018.
Oh, okay. That's around the same time I went.
Yeah, 2018. It was early 2018, January, and then I returned in April, May, with Suicidal. Suicidal played a couple shows there.
Oh, really? How was that?
Oh, phenomenal. It was great, man. They don't get that kind of entertainment.
Yeah.
Too often, and when we played there, it was great. You play there for free.
Yeah.
Because they don't have money to pay. So you just you pay. Thankfully, Mike Muir, he he paid for all the flights and everything, and he fulfilled a dream of mine, and
wow.
was to play in Cuba.
He did that for you.
For himself,
Yeah, but for him, yeah, but I mean, you inspired it.
But yeah, he saw that I had gone there. It might have been January 2018, and shortly after, we had booked 2 shows there.
Where in Cuba did you play?
We played Holguin, which is east. It's a province east of Havana, and then we played Havana.
Someone's saying, can Dave mute his phone? Are you sure? Did you turn the volume down again when we started again?
Volume is down, as well as my volume is down, and the microphone for the actual app is off. There's a line through it. The only thing that's left for me to turn off is this microphone here.
Okay, it's okay. I think our tech is saying that it's working. It's all good. It's all good. Okay.
All right.
We got a red flag, and the flag has dropped. So, yeah, wait, was Santana Cuban? I'm trying to remember. Carlos Santana.
No, he's Mexican.
He's Mexican. Okay, but he had a big Cuban influence in his stuff in the 70s.
Well, he wrote no. Actually, he re-recorded the song by Tito Puente called Oye Como Va. Yeah. Was it Oye Como Va?
Yeah. Yeah, and then he medleyized that with something else that kind of more psychedelic, I think. I know it's like the mid 70s stuff like Moonflower. I don't know if you ever
love that album.
Yeah, okay. So I have a special connection to that record because my mother was dating Bill Graham, the rock music promoter who managed Santana and the Grateful Dead, and some people know who he is.
Yeah.
But she dated him in the 70s and then later dated him again. They actually she died in the helicopter crash with him. So, and Santana played at the funeral. So I have this like very deep connection to him. But also when I was 4, or I think I was 4, they were recording Moonflower, and my mother went to the studio and she described coming back and saying that they had like done like 40 takes because they wanted to live track everything. They didn't want to do cuts, but they had to get the right take, and they would just do take after take after take after take after take. Yeah. And Santana was apparently complaining because Bill Graham was like, we need another take. Because Bill Graham actually grew up, after he escaped the Holocaust as a kid, and he grew up outside New York. His birth as a lover of music was Cuban music. And that's what got him. First, he got into Cuban music. He got into dancing. Then he got into rock and roll. And that's how the whole kind of scene happened.
That's kind of the same path I was on. My parents were obviously listening to Celia Cruz, Tito Puente, Benny Moré, all these, Latin artists. And then all my Cuban friends that my mom and dad would hang out with, and they would obviously have kids, and we'd all get together and just rage in the streets and stuff. And when we would go to these dances and parties, because that's one thing Cubans like to do is party and have a good time, listen to music and loud dance and all that stuff. And everybody was into dance music in the 70s. And I was the only one, amongst the group that was into Zeppelin, Sabbath. I was kind of, familiarizing myself with American culture.
Right, and this is before Fool in the Rain.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Because my brother got me into Led Zeppelin 2. He played for me Moby Dick and also Cream. With Ginger Baker,
my friend, I live half a block from the guy who made the documentary about Ginger Baker and got hit in the head with a cane, like a metal cane by Ginger Baker in Africa.
I hope to be like him when I
like Ginger. I think it's better that you're a decent human. I mean, Ginger had his good points and his bad points. Let's just say.
Of course. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I know. Well, you were influenced by a lot of trios. I mean, and Mitch Mitchell and because the guys who could hold it down in a trio were not just giving a backbeat; they were giving the whole. If it was an orchestra, it would be the the timpani and the cymbals and the triangle and the snare and everything. And the trio guys have that. Stu Copeland has that, you know. And it's cool that I know those people influence you. I read some interviews with you where you talk about that.
There's magic in a trio. I mean, it is the bare bones of a band. You know, you got a bass, because when you're in a trio, the drummer, when the guitar drops out and goes into a lead, you need to pick up that energy and compensate for that drop. So, you know, what I've learned from like Sabbath, Cream, Zeppelin, that you know, you elevate the excitement by, you know, when you go into your ride cymbal, when you go into a lead, and you know, it just elevates the sound, and it's so beautiful. And when a trio captures that energy or that element in their playing, it's beautiful. It's fantastic. Recently, I worked with Dave Grohl, and something, you know, told me to dive into old Nirvana and watch videos. And that was one hell of a trio. When they went off on stage and were jamming and really into the music, you know, they were one tight ass band, man. They were so good. And for some reason, it never occurred to me, you know, about Nirvana being a trio. I knew it in the back of my mind, but to watch them perform, they really they captured the beauty of a trio.
Yeah, really. For sure. Yeah, I never saw them play live.
No, neither did I. I was this close, but Kurt didn't show up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going to see them at the Paradiso in Amsterdam in 1991, and yeah,
he didn't show you. Was like in bad shape or something.
I was going to see them play, and then I was leaving on a plane to go home the next day, and I missed them, and they rescheduled for the day that I was leaving. So,
yeah, my great show that I could have missed but didn't was Jane's Addiction at the Stone in San Francisco on Broadway. In front, there was like 20, maybe 25 people there.
That's another treat.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. So if you think of the singer means nothing to you, Dave. Yeah. Nothing.
He's lucky to be there.
What?
He's lucky to be there.
Yeah. Well, in this case, he was barely there, and it wasn't clear that he was going to get on stage. And when they did Pigs in Zen, where he like improvises a kind of rap or song in the middle of it, and in the album, he's like, you know, I know about pain and war and being cold. And in this show, like we're like waiting, what's he gonna say? And he kind of stumbles up the stage and he goes, it's like dun 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 and he goes, anyone see the Dodgers game? And we're like, what is this? Is this the poetry we were waiting for?
No.
But there were 25 people, so it was like, you know, like. You remember the Stone? You must remember the Stone, right?
Of course, yeah.
Little club that's long gone, but yeah, I mean, it was a small club and it was mostly empty. And I guess they were already pretty big in LA, so he was probably like wondering why he'd come up to San Francisco and play for 20 people. But I was one of them.
Well, that must have been a great show because
well, my favorite part was how bad his rap was in the middle of that song.
Yeah, that's a great album. And
it's a great album.
Really good too.
Yeah, Stephen Perkins is awesome.
What's that?
Drummer's got a real style of his own. I mean, no one drums like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Are you doing any work with Apocalyptica anymore, or is that sort of ancient history? Or
no, I haven't seen. I saw them when I was in Europe some time ago at some festival. But we haven't seen each other in a while. So, no, I don't anticipate anything in the future, but you never know.
You never know. Apocalypta plus, I don't know, the New York Philharmonic.
Right? Ooh. That's a great idea.
I,
No, actually, I was the first drummer they ever performed with. I was doing a drum workshop at like this little festival in Europe, and they were playing a show uh, either the next day or the same day. I can't remember. And they asked me, "Hey, you want to play South of Heaven? Slayer South of Heaven with us?" I was like, "What? Yeah, let's do it." And this was before Phantomus. This was
mhm.
before anybody knew I was into experimenting and
Oh,
trying.
wait, so wait, mid 90s? Wasn't it Phantomus like late 90s when that started?
Yeah, late '90s.
So you were with Apocalyptica earlier than that.
So yeah,
I didn't realize that.
yeah, yep.
Wow.
So that was, and then after it worked, I think, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure that after they saw that and heard that their cellos and drumming could, actually work, they got their new drummer, and they've it's been nonstop since for them,
Right. Right.
working drummer, and so it's good.
They got a new drummer who got to be intimidated by the uh, the path you carved through that.
He's really good. I really like him. Very nice guy. Great drummer, and we've worked together, since he's been in the band, because we did some recordings, and he was there, and
Hmm. Hmm.
so yeah, great guy.
And do you see yourself doing any more like art pieces? I know you did like one for Matthew Barney. Um, do you do
Uh,
any? And those who don't know, that Matthew Barney is a ex experimental filmmaker slash artist who creates these very long, epic, metaphorical films with strange creatures in them. Very
very.
strange. He dresses as like the kind of like a satyr from a nightmare.
Yep.
Um, and Dave did a an epic drum track for him.
Yeah. It actually. We also did a video. You might be able to find it on YouTube. Matthew Barney, Dave Lombardo. We he, we entered a studio, and he said, I want you to do a drum solo, and we're gonna film it." And he had a vocalist there. I can't remember the vocalist's name at the time, and so he wanted to create this really bizarre video in a studio. But he said, "I want to bring in bees, actual bees, with a beekeeper, and let them loose in this vocal booth and record the bees around this microphone." So they put the queen bee on the microphone, and then all of a sudden, all the bees swarmed around the microphone, and they recorded it. And the musical director for the movie and the video, he sampled um, the bees on a keyboard, and used the bees sound
Wow.
as like guitar sound, like, but it was bees.
Wow, that
And
sounds really nightmarish and wonderful.
very nightmarish. And it's funny, they had the beekeepers, the camera, the camera team. Everybody was in bee suits, and I was in a black T-shirt. I had this crazy wig on, and because I think I had short hair at the time, so they wanted me to look like I was in the '80s, and so they said, "Okay, well," the beekeeper came into the room. He said, "All right, whatever you do, just don't swat at the bees." And I cocked my head like a dog, trying to understand what you're saying. I'm like, "What?" And I said, "Wait, I don't have a bee suit, and how do the bees not know that I'm not swatting at them?" So I thought I was going to get stung, or
Hmm.
but I didn't. Um, but oh, the vocalist for Korn, Jonathan Davis was in the neighboring studio, and a bee got in through the vents and went into the studio and stung his engineer in the neck. So
Fucking perfect.
so,
I love that it went off and attacked corn.
yeah.
Like, wait,
So,
Rod,
in
does he
our
know that you're to blame for this bee? That you like the bee was trying to get away from you?
probably, I did
um,
stung. Nobody in our studio got stung, but his Jonathan Davis's engineer did.
oh, the
And
engineer did.
yeah, he's
Oh,
engineer.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was just the singer didn't get stung. Somehow,
No,
like a singer getting stung is funny, an engineer getting stung is I feel bad.
yeah, right.
Why is that?
I don't know.
You know, because the singers tends to be, you know, show a extrovert who's getting a lot of attention, and it's funny to get a
Yeah,
big welt on
and,
their neck. But an engineer is already kind of hunched over.
yeah, and they don't have to haul drums around like we do. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah. They don't hold any of it. They just hold this.
yeah. So
Um, By the way, the Instagram, we have an Instagram live limit of an hour, which this is one of the longest interviews ever done. It's really fun talking with you, but in order that our phone people don't get cut off in the middle of a sentence, maybe we'll
resume.
should wrap it up, um, or we can say goodbye to the Instagram people because it may just get sliced by the system, but. So let's say well, I'll say the one thing that I would like to say, the most important thing is that it's an incredible honor talking with you. It's so fun talking with you. You have such a supple mind, and you know the jokes about drummers drooling out of both sides of their mouths is definitely
I
not true.
did read some of these comments. You know.
Are you seeing them now?
Well, no, I mean I can't. My phone's a little far, and
Oh, anyway, people. Well, Instagram people are saying don't stop, but we can leave it on. At some point, it's going to cut off in the middle of a sentence, so we don't
yeah,
want you to think
I
we're
can't.
rude. So we can keep talking until it just cuts off. Okay, ask the questions. People are like, ask the questions we're asking. Okay, I'm scrolling. There's a lot of compliments. I'm looking for question marks. The person who wanted me to ask you something. Oh, anyway, well, in case we get cut off, this is Dave Lombardo. I'm Ari Gold. I directed Adventures of Power, the air drum movie, with Michael McKean from Spinal Tap and Neil Peart, and it's a beautiful, ridiculous comedy you can watch for free on Amazon. And when you do so, money goes to support Music Cares and supporting musicians in need. And you can learn more about that at airdrummer.com. That's my little spiel. And then people are saying, okay, Dave Lombardo movie. Well, I'm talking about movies besides the Matthew Barney thing. And I know you did a little bit of soundtrack work. Are you interested in cinema? That's a question off of Instagram.
I love creating music and to pictures. It really helps, you know, that it sets sets a scene. And I recently composed music for a movie it's called Los Últimos Frikis, which is about a metal band in Cuba, you know, just going through their everyday, you know, strife and you know hardships. And you know the band, you know, some of the members of the band were arrested and were put in jail for several years, you know, for playing metal music. You know, they were looked down upon. So that was a real treat for me to do, and that's going to be out real soon. I just got word that it's going to be out on, you know, one of the
What kind of metal were they playing? I mean,
thrash metal. It was
okay.
From like, you know, they
Oh yes, of course, thrash metal.
Thrash metal.
Yes.
Thrash metal. Los Frikis, and the band's called Zeus, and it's really cool. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing that, and and I hope to do more. I just helped out with adding drums to Dark Knight Death Metal, DC Comics, you know, cartoon, comic book, this whole comic book series, and they have a soundtrack to it. And I
And
worked really
you're
close.
composing for it, playing drums, or a combination?
Playing drums for it. Yeah, Tyler Bates, a dear friend of mine, he would send me like some drones, some like just like a backdrop of music, you know, and then I would create over it, and he would give me the, you know, kind of the synopsis of the story, and I would try to envision that, and then play along to it, and then create my drum patterns and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So I did that. I worked on Thunder Force this last year in 2020. It's a Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer movie, and that's released. That's on Netflix. I worked with Scott Ian on that.
Oh, wow.
And Phil Eisler.
But did you compose music, or what were you?
No, Phil Eisler composed the music, and then he would send us, you know, the stems and kind of the rough tracks, and then we would recreate them and record them in the studio for it.
Wow, that's pretty sweet as a composer to like call in Dave Lombardo and Scott Ian to lay down some tracks.
What was cool was Melissa McCarthy had a Slayer shirt on during the movie, and
okay,
so that was awesome. And
I just did a music video for some punk kids that I met on Venice Beach. Homeless kids who are going to be, or I think this video is going to blow up. I hope it blows up. But they were wearing Dead Kennedys and Suicidal shirts. So I'm like, all right, I got to tell Dave that there's like some Suicidal fans living out of their car, a bunch of black kids actually. And I bring that up because they're like, we have to prove that punk is black. And we're gonna bring black back to punk and punk back to black, and they're like, but anyway, they've got the last shot you see Suicidal written right down one guy's arm. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah,
you know, I love, you know, seeing some of those, you know, like the vests, and you'll see a Slayer patch, you'll see a Testament patch, you'll see you know. Geez, who else? Apocalyptica, and you see all these bands. It's like, I played in that band. I played in that band.
You played in most bands. Let's be honest.
You know,
what bands have you not played in?
Oh, I mean, it's many. You know, but yeah, Misfits as well, and it's just really cool. I'm really proud and happy to be part of such an amazing generation. And it's surreal in a way for me, because I grew up admiring bands like Maiden and you know, Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, and you know, so many of these, and even you know Zeppelin and Cream and Jimi Hendrix and all that. And then it seems like now I've kind of like, I'm like part of that kind of cycle, or I'm part of a newer generation of musicians, you know, that are kind of carrying the torch. And it's
you get to be in multiple generations. It's nice.
Yeah,
because you're still innovating and still branching out in a million directions. Someone's asking, speaking of like one of your branches, I'm just pulling this question, but Grip Incorporated, favorite record. What's your favorite record from that project? Someone wants to know.
Damn. Power of Inner Strength was great because it was my first record after I left Slayer in '92. You know, the second time I left Slayer, I created this band out of nothing, and, you know, chose all the musicians. And I discovered the singer, who unfortunately passed away in, I believe, 2008. And, you know, it was phenomenal. It was a great time. And Power of Inner Strength, Nemesis was amazing. Solidify, Incorporated, it's those songs were pretty awesome, man. And listening back, they still blow me away, but it really tears into my heart, because Gus is not with us. The
Mm-hmm.
vocalist, he's not with us anymore, and it would have been great to reunite that band
Mm-hmm.
and do some of the shows and festivals and
Yeah.
Today. But yeah, that great band.
Well, you got fans. I got fans here bringing them up, so that's nice. Let me see. I'll pull another question. I don't know how you feel about certain. I mean, do you want to talk about? You can say you don't want to talk about, losing Hanneman.
Oh, this is one of geez, next to Gus in Grip Incorporated, Hanneman is another. It was a terrible loss. It's unfortunate, how it all happened, and to this day, I miss him. I communicate with his wife, and she knows how I felt about Hanneman, and how Hanneman felt about me, and
Yeah.
he's just he was an amazing trailblazer. He hardly knew how to play guitar when I first met him, and
Wow.
wrote some of the best Slayer songs that you could have ever imagined, and he's definitely missed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On a more cheerful subject, someone's asking, and I'm wondering if it's Rod Diaz himself. Someone's like, "What was it like working with Rod Diaz?" I'm wondering, like, is that Raw, like pretending to be someone else, being like, "How handsome is Rod Diaz when you're standing next to him?"
Rod is great. He and I joined Suicidal at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Our first rehearsals were, we were the new guys in the band, and he was awesome, man. He's great. He's a great guy to hang out with. Great personality, great player. Yeah, we really connect on stage. There's some sections in Suicidal songs where it's just drums and bass, and man, we lock in. It's just so sweet. We're in the pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and with punk music, it's fast, but there's still a pocket, there's still a groove.
Well, and Suicidal Tendencies has always been, had the groove. They're Southern California. They've got a groove a little bit. They're not just like
not just stiff.
I find the mix of these lyrics, and I know what you talked about, how you're not so much thinking about the lyrics, but with Suicidal, like, they deal with death. They don't deal with death by going into the goth house and putting on the kind of like death thing. Instead, it's like actually talking about death, talking about depression, talking about like being in a really dark place and not hiding in the kind of metal trappings. And there's something so beautiful to me about Mike Muir's lyrics and the way his brutal honesty about the way he's feeling is mixed with this like hardcore fucking bullet train of energy. To me, it's such a beautiful combination.
It's a reality check. It's very uplifting.
Exactly.
It's a positive message, and it's
because it acknowledges the dark. You can't have the darkness. I mean, you can't have the lightness without actually acknowledging the darkness. Like Bill Cosby was always like the perfect dad to everyone, and like even back when I was a kid, I was like, I don't trust that guy. He was all sunshine. I was like, where's the shadow? Like, there's something missing here.
Yeah.
So like someone like Mike Muir, like he shows his shadow, and then that the spirit is good because he's like, hey, here's the fucking shadow.
I had a conversation. Mike and I got on the phone the other day, and we had a great. I mean, God, we had to have been on the phone for like an hour or so. And he said, I said to him, I said, man, I'm really looking forward to playing again, and there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And he said, and he started laughing. He said, Dave, I hate to disappoint you, but that light at the end of the tunnel is a train coming at you. Like reality check,
Fucking perfect.
Yeah, and
Like
that's
in,
Mike Muir, a
yeah,
real
that
he's a realist, and we may be optimistic, but he knows how to reel you in. It's like,
right.
dude, just
Yeah. But I mean, I can imagine like there'd be no one if I was on a boat, in the middle of the ocean fighting to survive, like you'd want to have Mike in that boat with you, I
oh yeah,
think.
yeah,
I
yeah.
have never met him.
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Rob, but my sister's Nazi skinhead boyfriend in high school was beat up by the members of Suicidal Tendencies at a show in the 80s, which, was all right with me.
Well, the story, Gus Chambers and Grip Incorporated, we played a show out in Detroit, and a bunch of skinheads show up, and they're all doing their Nazi salute and everything, and he was British, he's English, born, raised, scarred in England, and he chased those Nazis out of the club with the bottom of his mic stand, holding his mic stand, and just got off and just went after him. And you see these guys running, and Gus chasing him with the mic stand out the front door, and then coming back and finishing the song.
Oh my God,
I'll never
that's
forget
beautiful.
that. And my view from my drum stool is the most amazing view. And
Yeah, you're like safely protected and you can see everything.
Not during a suicidal show. I'm not safely protected in a suicidal show. There was one because Mike Muir brings up the audience up on stage, and there's times where some of these people dancing and jumping around, and there's so many people on stage that some people fall onto the drum set. But there was this one guy that was doing it on purpose, and
like stage diving, but instead of onto people, he was diving into the drum set.
There were a lot of people on stage just like dancing around, and he was acting stupid, and not being respectful of the gear on stage, and he was purposely, but not on purpose, but not on purpose, falling onto my drum kit. And there was one time I just stopped playing and just dove for him. I missed, but that was like the one moment that I lost it. It's like, come on, dude, stop being a jerk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. It's exciting. Miss it. I miss it so much.
Well, when do you do what's your live? What's in your horizon for live playing?
I have 2 shows in Chicago in September with Mr. Bungle. We're playing the Riviera on the 17th, I believe, and then on the 19th or 16th and the 18th. I'm not too sure. And then we're playing. The first date is at the Riviera in Chicago, and then the second date is Riot Fest with Mr. Bungle.
With Mr. Bungle.
And then October, I'm playing Aftershock Festival. Friday, I'm playing with Suicidal, and then Saturday, I'm playing with the Misfits. So
nice.
Playing
you'll be back. Dave's back.
I have to.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you're still someone's asking what size snare are you working with? I want to give someone the technical questions. I'm sure there's plenty more, but that one popped up. What size snare do you use?
Tama 5.5 by 14, hand hammered, bronze snare, I believe. I would have to look it up exactly what it is. I've been using the same one for years. It's gold, and
you hit it.
And you hit it, and it's got these little strings underneath.
Yeah. As an air drummer, I tend to play DW air drums, because in Adventures of Power, the only gear you see is the DW stool that someone tries to get me to sit in but I'm like, I believe that a real air drummer doesn't use a stool, but it is a DW stool. Right. And so I've been kind of buddies with that crew for a bit, but yeah, a sponsored air drummer can do whatever he wants. I'm open to a sponsorship for cymbals. I'm just saying, for air cymbals, you know, if anyone out there has a cymbal company.
Yeah, I think they make those
air cymbals.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you have any new Misfits stuff coming up?
Yes, actually, I'm getting together with Jerry Only next weekend.
To like write or record, or?
We're gonna do some little miscellaneous recordings, and we're going to go over the set for shits and giggles, and just to get ourselves back into shape and have some fun. So he's going to be down for a week, and I'm really looking forward to that. And so, I mean, we're still a ways away, but it's good, you know, just to get reacquainted, or you know, like
have you been keeping in shape, you know, in terms of chops? I know it's not the same at playing, you know, at home versus on stage, but
it's not the same. I try, but man, nothing compares to having those guitars, those vocals, just
playing live. I mean, I tell that to actors too. You know, an actor will rehearse a scene in their living room for, you know, however many, if they can rehearse it, learn it's a monologue for, if they work for 12 hours. I'm like, just go out and do it in the street in front of 10 people or in front of whoever's walking by, and those 12 hours, your body and your voice and your mouth will remember more if you're doing it in front of somebody in 1 hour than you would in 12 hours in your room.
Yeah, I could imagine that. Yeah, I mean, and it's a lot of mental work. You know, I believe that a big part of rehearsal is going over it in your mind.
Well, you have now you have a catalog of like so many bands that you play in. My God, it's like you got to be Bob Dylan in terms of like the number of songs.
I know 37 Misfits songs. So Danzig is able to call them out. Hey, I want to do this one. Bam! I have to know it.
Instantly.
Yeah. My job. And Dead Cross, you know, there's probably 10, 12, maybe 12, 13 songs, maybe plus some covers that we do. And then Mr. Bungle, and then Suicidal.
It's a lot of songs.
But you know what? A lot of that muscle memory, you know, or not muscle memory, that you know, using your brain like that, I believe, you know, helps a lot in, you know, as you get older. You know.
Yeah, that's something I talked about with Neil Peart. When we released Adventures of Power, we were raising money to support music education, and we were talking about the fact that music education for kids helps them with math, helps them with all these other subjects, and the school programs that are getting cut, they're like, oh, we don't need music education. It's like, I mean, it's not about making the next Dave Lombardo, although that can happen. It's about the fact that if you play music, you engage with music, your brain's going to be stronger in everything. It's going to be stronger when you're 90, and it's going to be stronger when you're 9.
Pardon me?
It's going to be, your brain's going to be stronger when you're 90 and when you're 9 if you're playing music.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, she's 89, and she reads every day, and she's still reading. And although her body is, you know, obviously, you know, she's frail, but her mind is so sharp. You know, she remembers so much and does not suffer from any kind of dementia or anything like that. That, you know, it's there's something there to be said. You know, reading, and I believe listening to music, memorizing music, memorizing patterns. You know, it's I think it's beneficial. You know, long term.
Yeah. All right. Well, so I'm glad to hear you'll be back out in full force. 2 bands in 1 weekend in October.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a good life.
And then maybe there's something going on in December. but I can't talk about that.
So what?
And
Yeah. Well, okay. So that
yeah,
means there is something going on. If
yeah,
you can't talk about it, that's a good sign.
there's
Um,
something going on. There's like 4 other albums that I'm going to be releasing. I don't know how soon. I've completed 3, I believe. There's going to be 3 releases that are complete, and then I have one that I'm almost done with. So
and you can't say who they're with.
can't
Okay.
say anything.
Right.
Now,
Shania Twain. I know. I just let the cat out of the bag. Shania Twain. Oops.
what Shania? No.
Oops.
No.
They want someone saying people want a Dave solo album with guest musicians. Think about it. If you need a guest air drummer, let me know. Be happy to like do a duet with you.
After I saw the movie, there's some potential there, man.
And I've done some live. I did. I did Adventures of Power, but I also done live shows. I played in front of 7,000 people in Finland. I did Hot for Teacher, and in those, I did a 60-second cut of Hot for Teacher, all legs in a squat, like double bass, 2 arms. Those 60 seconds, my heart was pounding like I had run a marathon. My heart was pounding for 4 hours after that 1 60-second.
Really?
Like there's a joke in the movie that air drumming is a lot harder than air drumming, than real drumming, because you don't have anything to bounce against. So you're using all this strength to like push in both directions.
Yeah.
So, just saying, putting it out there. If you need it, let me know. So maybe we'll wrap up. And let me just scroll to see if there's any emergency questions from fans. There's a lot of hellos from South America, from Argentina and Brazil. I have seen you got a lot of fans in that continent. So, and Chile. Yeah, someone just. No, someone's saying no, don't go. Zorn.
Yeah, Zorn.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. So look, I think we can, even though people seem to still be enjoying this, maybe we'll sign off, because this has been a nice long talk. So, what can I say? Follow Dave Lombardo on Instagram if you don't already. I'm Ari Gold. I'm at Ari Gold on Instagram. I'm on the Modern Drummer account right now because Modern Drummer has been co-sponsoring this initiative to talk to drummers, talk about drumming, talk about air drumming and Adventures of Power, and raise awareness of music cares. So once again, please go to musiccares.org and donate, and watch Adventures of Power on Amazon for free, and Amazon sends me money, and then I send it to Music Cares. So, and it's a great movie. So says Dave Lombardo. And Neil Peart said, in a word, yeah. In 2 words, fuck yeah. Then again, he's in it, so he had the right to do that. But by the way, did you ever hang out with Neil Peart?
Never. I never met him, and it's a big regret in my life. I really wish I could have, met the guy. He's a genius. He was a genius. He was a trailblazer. He was, his style, his sound. I first heard Rush when they released Moving Pictures, because I was in high school at the time when that album came out, and anything prior to Moving Pictures, I really didn't get into, because I was into Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, punk.
They seemed too prog for you or something.
It was just a little different for me.
Yeah.
And but I appreciated it. I mean, I bought the CD, and I have a compilation, a Rush compilation, and I studied it, listened to what he was doing, and like all drummers, when you listen to something, and when a drummer is very like special and unique, you absorb and you take from that, and he definitely had that magic, and to go beyond the speakers, and hit the person or the drummer, the upcoming drummer, listening to it and inspire them in one way. And he did it.
Brain massage. His drumming is like brain massage for me.
Weird,
we did a drum off. I don't know if you've seen that. It's not in the movie, but after the movie, which makes a big joke of an air drummer trying to play Tom Sawyer, we did a live. We filmed a performance of me air drumming right next to him, real drumming Tom Sawyer, and I put it on YouTube, and like there were so many people there, like a lot of people loving it, but a lot of people like it was their life dream to do that. And they're like, "Who is this asshole air drumming next to Neil Peart? I should be the one to do that," Because he would joke about. I mean, he'd say like every show he'd look off, and on one side there'd just be like this row of people like doing every single hit.
I bet,
like my character does. But
it's perfect. At least for me, Moving Pictures and Tom Sawyer was the perfect song to air drum. I remember when that was released. There was a bunch of people in high school, a bunch of kids, friends of mine. They had their little boombox, and playing the cassette, or and everybody da 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 da.
Yeah.
He did it. He that might have been the beginning of air drumming. That might have started that movement.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of air drumming happening to Led Zeppelin for sure. I mean, I like Ramble On, like the kick drum offbeat on Ramble On. I mean, I was air drumming that before I got into Rush, I think.
Yeah, but actually, I think in public, that might have been behind.
In public, yeah, maybe in public.
Everybody wanted to show that, hey, I know this part.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
So I don't know. It's it's a terrible loss. Life sucks, when it comes to mortality. But
he was a really sweet, amazing, generous person, and so influential to me as a person, as an artist. And like when Adventures of Power came out, and like nobody cared because we did this tiny, no money, and it was like, and he was like so encouraging. He was like, "This is you're an artist, and you remind me of when Rush was starting out," and like, it was. He knew what to say exactly at the right time when I was feeling punched in the nose by like making a movie and nobody gave a shit. So like.
That's awesome.
He's in Adventure. Actually, if anyone's watching and wants to go to airdrummer.com, we have lots of mentions of Dave Lombardo. You're on multiple pages. We have pages for a bunch of the bands you're in. It's like, because you're in most bands, website's going to get big, but yeah. So, and there's a Neil Peart page as well where I have the videos that I made with him. So people want to watch that. They're there for free. But yeah, he was a beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Beautiful soul.
That's what I hear from everyone.
Yeah.
That has,
when you hear it from a lot of people, you start to realize it's probably true. And if you hear that somebody's an asshole from a lot of people, it's probably true as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've met some of those too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we will sign off. People are willing to say goodbye. Oh, so fine. Please ask about the new Dead Cross album, please.
Well, we're still waiting. I'm still waiting for Patton to wrap up the vocals. He's got a lot on his plate. He's working on a lot of stuff. So some of these things, they take time.
They take time. Yeah. Okay.
So
patience, folks. Patience.
Patience, yeah. In time.
Right. In time. That's the perfect closer for our interview. Is you're air drumming, you're making a little pun.
Yeah.
It's working. All right. So thank you all so much. I can't believe how many of you stayed on for how long this was. And I wish we were all getting a beer, or those who don't have a beer getting a lemonade. And see you on the road. Go check out Dave's multiple bands. Hard to keep track of them, but catch you. They wanted Dave's. All right, they got it.
I'll be there I'll be in your town one of these days.
Oh, and love from Russia too.
Ah,
That just came
awesome.
through.
That's pretty far out there. Woo.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So really great talking with you, and catch you somewhere.
Thanks, Ari. Make sure to hit us up if I'm ever in your town.
I will. And I'll send you this punk video because I think you're going to find it super inspiring.
Please. I would love to see it.
Yeah. The singer's name is Yumi So Cute, and she is a badass, and she's a true believer. So
what's the name of the band again?
Yumi well, right now it's just her and her friends. It's basically, her name is Yumi, and she goes by Yumi So Cute. I mean, she doesn't have a following yet, but I'm taking it upon myself to. The video is amazing, so I'm going to be posting it next week on my everything, my Instagram, Ari Gold, and she's putting together one too.
Okay.
I know it sounds unconvincing, but like I think she's going to be a star.
Awesome.
I believe. Yeah.
I can't wait to check it out.
Yeah.
And this is the video you were working on. You worked on, right?
I shot it in Venice. I was biking down Venice Beach, and I saw her like screaming into a microphone in front of a U-Haul, and I like pulled my bike around, and like there were all these like kids like just going crazy on the parking lot. I mean, not that many, like 20 of them, but their style was like amazing. They were like, had Dead Kennedys, Misfits, and so I stopped and asked what was up, and she gave me her kind of like mission statement of what she was doing, and she'd come out from Texas and some of them from Cleveland, and she was living in her car, and she was trying to bring punk and bring punk to the Black community and bring Black to the punk community was her sort of like what she said.
I love it.
And she's just kind of on fire, and it was backing tracks. It was just a recording. Word to the wise in advance.
Yeah.
But I think she'll have a band soon enough, and
so she's committed. She loves it.
Yeah, just when you see the video, you'll see it's like, sometimes you meet someone, you're like, your eyeballs fall off, and so anyway, I was like, look, I'd love to help you any way I can. Let me make a video for you, and so I'm cutting it right now. I'm just it's cut. I'm just doing the color. I want it to be like look perfect. For it. So yeah.
Well, let me know.
All right, I will. Catch you later. Such a pleasure.
Ari, pleasure talking with you. And hey, folks, remember, music cares. Go on there and help them out. They help musicians. I know many musicians that they've helped during this pandemic, and it's a great organization, and definitely, worth it.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Sorry.
Keep the rock, folks.
Always.
Yeah. Bye. I'll turn off on both systems at the same time.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.